Hello, my name is Chelsea Seeley, and this is Life to Light podcast, where I'll be turning life problems into light using God's word. Today, I have a very special guest, Madeline.
Hello.
And today, she is actually going to be showing her testimony on how she got set free from addiction and started following Jesus. So I will just let you start. And I first just want to ask you, though, how did you first get addicted to drugs?
It's such a hard question to answer. It's hard because nobody ever plans to become addicted to drugs, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that just kind of like snowballs so fast and happens. There was a lot of different life factors that I had of like ways that I grew up, people that were in my life. It was hard. It was a hard life growing up. But it was one of those where I feel like I loved escaping. I loved it so much because I hated my reality. And I would like make comedy movies and I would do anything I could to like not have to like live in my reality. Like I'm a huge movie buff. I've seen every movie you can ever think of, like anything to like escape, you know what I'm saying? And then when I was 16, I started partying a lot, which was like super fun. And then you go from that to like, I think I was like 18 or 19 and I started dating somebody who was really bad for me, but obviously I was too. Like those were decisions that I was making. And then it just started with like ecstasy and then cocaine. And then you're like, it started with alcohol to begin with. Wow. And then it like snowballs into these other things. And before I knew it, like we were addicted to pills and like that happened so fast. Wow. It was like a blink of an eye. And then, literally from pills, it went to heroin and I can't like explain how that happened. Because it's so fast. Like you just get like caught up in the moment.
It's just like one thing and then after another.
Yes. And it's so hard. Like when you get in it and you realize like you're in it, like it's so hard. And I remember we were living out here in California when we got addicted to heroin, and it was already like a really like physically abusive relationship. It was very mentally abusive and like it was so toxic on all sides, like all the way around. And I remember one day like going outside and just being like, this is it. Like, this is it for me. It's never going to change. I was like sitting on the stairwell and I was like, my life is never going to be different. Like, this is always what it's going to be. We couldn't pay our bills. We couldn't afford food. We were like stealing candy bars. Like it was so bad. And then, so like fast forward, that was in 2015. I got addicted in 2014. And then fast forward, I went out to Texas. And I was like, I'm going to start my life over here. I'd broken up with my boyfriend. I was like, I have a new start. And then I started shooting up. So it was like, that was my new start. Yeah. So it was like, it just got even worse. And I was like doing drugs with my sister.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, I started doing meth. And it was like 9 months from the time I started doing meth to like watch my life just crash and burn, like totally just like the worst that it could ever be. Wow. And, I'll like, long story short, I'll save you from all like the horrible things that happened there. But I had started dating somebody and I feel so bad like to this day because I did not treat that person well at all. And like, I just needed a place to live. I needed someone to take care of me. I couldn't afford my addiction. He made good money. Like it was everything that I felt like I needed.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of things to hurt him. And so I told him, I was like, I just need to take a 2-week trip and I need to go to Arizona and like, I just need to go see my family and like, I can get us a bunch of, cause he would use with me. And I was like, I can get us a bunch of stuff out there and bring it back. And anyways, I ended up taking off with a bunch of money, like wasn't like reaching out to him. I was just partying in Arizona.
Oh,
and
wow.
He got really mad. He found out a lot of stuff that I was doing behind his back. And then the car I had was a car that he had bought for me, but it was in his name. And he drove to Arizona and him and my mom who was really mad at me at the time. And my mom is somebody who's like, if she's mad at you, she's going to do whatever she can to make you pay.
Oh, man.
And they set me up in a Walmart parking lot and said that I had stole the car. And it was one of those things where I walked out and I had no idea what was going on. I was ambushed by police and I was like, what are you talking about? This car's not stolen. It's mine. My boyfriend bought it for me. And they're like, he's the one who reported it. And then I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. This doesn't make sense. Like, call him. And they're like, he said he just wants the car back, but he wants us to search it first. Because he knew I had the drugs in there. And so they searched the car and they find the drugs inevitably. And as I'm getting arrested and I'm like crying and I have no idea what's going on, I look over and I see his car and my mom's car and they're parked right next to each other and they're just like watching this happen.
So like you knew that.
I knew exactly, like at that moment, I was like, this was planned. It was orchestrated. It was like something that they did together. And there was like that feeling of betrayal where you're just like, I don't have anybody in my life. Like I never had family who supported me. I never had any of that anyways. And I'm just like, and then to like see that, it was so hard. And I got charged with 3 felonies. I was facing up to 10 years in prison.
Wow.
It was a lot. And I was like sitting in jail and I started detoxing. And like all of this stuff is coming to me and I'm like, I want to die. Like I hate my life. I feel so, sorry.
Okay.
I feel so alone.
Yeah.
And I remember I called my brother, my older brother, and it's so weird because I never had a relationship with my brother. We did not talk. Like he lived out in California. He was a Christian. He was like all about like the life, you know what I mean? And like, I was a brat. I did what I wanted when I wanted. Nobody's going to tell me what to do.
Did you know Jesus at this time?
I believe wholeheartedly that I got saved as a kid.
Okay.
I believe that wholeheartedly. And I believe that I was a prodigal son. I do believe that because I know the way that I would like talk to God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I was so off path. You know what I'm saying? Like I never had that relationship with him. I never had any of that with him, but I believed in him.
Yeah.
Like I loved him. And I know he saved me from dying so many times. So many times I almost died and he saved me from that. Like, so I believe that wholeheartedly. I know everybody's beliefs are different on salvation and whatever. My belief is when I was a child, I got saved. I remember that moment.
That's beautiful.
And then I just went and did what I did, you know, but that he brought me back. And so I called my brother and I'm on the phone and I'm crying and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm calling you. And he starts crying and he was like, I love you so much. And that was the first time that somebody had told me they loved me, that I knew that they meant it in a very long time.
Wow.
In a very long time. And he was like, I don't know what I would have done if you would have died. And I don't know where you're going. He's like, but you have to stop living like this. And he gave me like a hard reality, but it was so sweet. Like I could feel the love behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they let me out and I go to my dad's house and it's like 10 days away until my trial, or not my trial, my court date. And I'm sitting at my dad's and I'm detoxing. I'm doing this cold turkey, mind you. I'm coming off heroin, meth, Xanax, like everything you could think of. And I'm cold turkey kicking this. And I'm at my dad's and I'm sitting outside. And I remember just sitting outside and like looking up and like talking to God. And it wasn't like repentance of like, forgive me or anything like that. It was like the first time I took responsibility for my actions. And I was just like, I deserve everything.
Wow.
I deserve everything I'm getting right now. I'm not a good person. I haven't been a good person. I don't do good things. And I was like, I just need you to help me walk through it. because everything that's coming my way, I deserve it.
Wow.
And
Also, real quick, I think those prayers are one of the most powerful prayers, especially when you're so deep in sin and you're so lost and far away from God. When you're just speaking directly from your heart and pouring out to God, I feel like those are the ones where he really just hears you, and he sees, you know, we're broken without him. So he sees your true hurt and just really wants to just know you. You know, that's all he wants, is just to have a relationship and know you. So I feel like when he hears those prayers, it's really coming just from your heart. So,
and it's so like, he never condemns you.
yes.
I've never felt condemned.
Never.
I've only ever felt loved. And that was one of those moments where I was just like, I deserve everything. But it was such, like, Chelsea, it was such overwhelming peace that I had in that moment that was like, everything's going to be okay.
Oh, that's
like,
beautiful.
you are not alone. And I truly did not feel alone anymore. For the first time in my life, I did not feel alone anymore. And so I called the courthouse the day before my court date, and I was just making sure that I had the time and the address correct. And the lady on the phone was like, the sheriff never signed the paperwork. You're not facing charges. And I was facing up to 10 years. I had 3 felony counts against me.
Wow.
And I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. And then somebody reached out to me right after that I hadn't talked to in years, and was like, your mom posted about what happened to you on Facebook. Of course she did. And they read it, which ended up being the biggest blessing, because they reached out to me and they put me in contact with a rehab in California.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I flew to that rehab in California, and I became their first ever one and done at that rehab. My first time in rehab, never used again. I did it cold turkey. And I started like working on my relationship with God in rehab. I started reading the Bible every day. I would listen to Psalms when I would go to bed. I would pray, and I would start reciting Bible verses, because I would look at everybody in the rehab, and like, everyone was doped up on medication.
Yeah.
Everyone would just like sit around and like play on their phones all day. And I was like, that's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. And so I would pray. I would recite Bible verses to myself. I started swimming out to the buoy and back every single day. I started teaching myself how to surf. I got my body moving. Like, I was like
really changing
habits and changing all of that stuff. And I was like, because I had a lot of fun partying, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I had a lot of fun partying until it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
But if I can't have fun in sobriety, what's the point?
Exactly.
And so I needed to start learning, like, what does real fun look like? What does real joy look like?
Yeah.
What do these things look like? And then God was working on me in that time. And it just became the most beautiful thing ever. And like, I ended up getting sponsored. I got a job. Like, the head of the rehab paid off my court fines to get my driver's license back. Like, I came out to California. I had no bank account. I had no driver's license. I had no money. I had a duffel bag of clothes that didn't fit me. Like, I had nothing when I came out here, and everything God built up from the ground up.
That's what he does.
And the most beautiful part of all of that was the way that he worked on me, the way that he changed me. That 2 years after I got clean, the guy who set me up to put me in jail, I called him. I flew home to Arizona, and I called him, and I asked him if he would let me buy him lunch. And I took him to lunch, and I asked him to forgive me. I was like, please forgive me for all the things that I did that hurt you. All the things I did that hurt you, that made you feel a certain way, the situations that I put you in. Like, I didn't bring up anything anyone had done to me. It was like, this is what I did to you, and I need you to forgive me. And I did that with every single person in my life. And it was the most freeing thing that's ever happened.
Seriously, that is so amazing. And definitely when we take that step of accountability, one, and change, and actually putting action to our words, and like you going and asking for forgiveness, and just like really building your life and changing it, and not trying to stay stuck in that position, I think is just so beautiful, and just shows how much God is really present. Because the second you reached out to God, and it's like everything just fell into line, you know? And I love seeing that happen, not even in your life, but just in like so many people's lives, even in mine. And it's just so beautiful because it's like God never stops working. God never stops showing up and showing that he's here for us. It's just the matter of fact, if we are going to take that first step into action, because God is a respectful God, he's not going to just barge into your life. But if we are willing to accept him and willing to say, I'm ready, and I don't know what to do, but help me, then he is going to always be there to help us.
Well, and I think he does barge into your life sometimes. Like I really do. I think that with, the way that I ended up in jail, that was like something that was meant for evil. God was like, boom, I'm here now. We're going to use this for good. You know what I mean?
That's
and then
true.
it was like, because he came to me. Like he put the thought in my head, like, call your brother. Yeah. He put it on my heart, like, pray these prayers. Like that was things that like, I didn't go looking for him.
You're right about that.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's one of those things where I'm like, that is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it's made me have this relationship with him where I'm like, nobody can take that away from me.
Yeah.
Nobody can change that. And the way that he has set my life up from that, Chelsea, like the life that I have today, I couldn't imagine this life. And I know that sounds so like silly and cliche, but I love my life.
That's amazing.
I love my life. Like there's nothing in my life that I would change. I just got 7 years clean. I cleaned everything up. I have a 4.0 GPA. I'm looking to start flight school this fall. Like all of these things where I'm like, talk about restoration, like the restoration of your mind. How do I have a 4.0 GPA with all the drugs that I did?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like
seriously.
Like how do you regain intelligence and those things that like, I don't even remember barely like a year and a half of my life. Wow. I barely remember it from like 2015 to 2017. I barely remember that. Wow. That is such a like crazy period where I'm just like, I have no idea. It was wild. Like, I know that there was awful things that went down, but like, I wouldn't be able to like lay it out for you how it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me that he can take me from that to this. And I'm just like, how? Like, how does that happen?
He really takes us out of our brokenness and lifts us up high.
Yes.
And it's just so beautiful to see. And, I'm so thankful that you got out of that, because now you're just so, I could see you, just radiant with light. And
so sweet.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful to see. And I'm so happy and proud of you that you took that step to just continue on the path of righteousness, because it's so beautiful, and this is definitely where we are meant to be, not stuck in that, in the world and in that. And especially, it's like, it doesn't help you in any way. It only just makes you go you're literally digging a hole, digging your grave, so I'm just proud that you were able to get out of that. And all thanks to God, because this just shows us that nothing is impossible for him. So.
No, it's not. It's really not. And like, I have friends, I have family who's like still addicted and like living in active addiction. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, your life could be so good. It could be so good. Like, God could change your entire life if you would just let him.
Yeah,
like, you know literally. What I mean? Like, that's like, and I'm so thankful. I get survivor's guilt a lot because I have family who's still in active addiction. I'm like, how am I here and they're there? Like, that's another thing that's really hard too. Yeah. And I have friends who are still in it, and I'm just like, how? Like, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a miracle.
It is.
It's such a miracle. And I'm so thankful for that, because I almost died so many times.
Wow.
So many times where I'm just like, I should have been dead. Like, I should not be here. And it's such a gift. And I'm so thankful for it. And I'm so thankful for everyone he's brought my way. I've got to see people get saved through my story. Yes. I've got to see people quit drinking. I've got to see people learn about who Jesus was for the first time. That was my boyfriend, by the way. I told him about who Jesus was, and he's on fire for God now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm just like, stuff like that, where I'm like, if I hadn't gone through that and been here, like, I wouldn't be that person for them.
Yeah.
And God encouraged me so much in the beginning. And I'm like, I just want to be that person for other people. I want to encourage people. I want you to know that, like, I will never judge you. No matter where you are in life, I will never judge you because I've probably been off worse. Like, I will always love you. And I tell people that, and I'm a good friend now, and people call me for advice now. And I'm like, that's crazy to me that people call me for advice, like, because they want my input on stuff. And I'm like, that shows my growth in myself. Like, that encourages me. I'm like, why are you calling me for that stuff? Like, it's beautiful.
It is.
It's beautiful that he can change you to the point where people look at you now and they're like, I want that.
Yeah.
My boyfriend looked at me and he's like, I want that. Like, he grew up with parents who were addicted, and he's like, everybody always told me that it will never be different. It'll never be different. He's like, I met you and you flipped my world upside down. He's like, it can be different.
Yeah.
And like, that's crazy to me that God would do that. You know what I'm saying? I get so excited when I talk about like that aspect of it.
Because it's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And that just shows like how much he truly loves us, you know? And in terms of your family, I mean, just keep praying, you know, and God is going to show up. And I mean, if he did it for you, he can do it for them. So I think you're just that hope. And that just your testimony alone is so powerful and impactful. So,
it's so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true, and prayer is so powerful. So God can do it, and God will do it. So just keep believing that and have faith knowing that. So yeah,
you're so sweet.
Yeah, but I'm so happy for you, and thank you for sharing this because it's so beautiful. And
thank you.
I even have friends and family who also are just, you know, into drugs. So I pray for them all the time. So
yeah, dude, I just took 7 years. Like, that's a trip. I'm technically like almost an old timer in AA.
Well, that's amazing.
That's crazy. I'm one of the old dogs almost. Like, I'm right there.
No, but I'm so happy. So thank you so much for sharing your testimony. And I'm so happy to see where you're at now. And you're just going to keep on getting closer and closer with God. So
thanks for asking me. This was so fun. I love this.
Yay, I'm so
I was
glad.
nervous, but I'm like, okay, it went good.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I pray that her testimony impacted you, and just know that you're never too far gone and that there's still hope. So thank you for watching, and tune in for the next one. Bye.